Welcome to Hair Metal Chaos live with the Guru and Rachelle. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru, and we are going to get Stevie Rachelle here in a second. But first of all, we might talk about this in the video, but I wanted to point out just how sad we are to hear about the passing of Dolly Parton, who was as rock and roll as they come. And like I said, she'll probably come up in the conversation. But tonight, we are recapping my trip to Gatlinburg, Tennessee for the Mountain Music Festival. We're also going to talk music news, and we're planning on addressing the use of AI in music and media. We're going to answer your questions, and we have a packed night ahead of us. But remember, you come for the hair metal, but you stay for the chaos, and it's always here. And the chaos is going to begin right after this.
Metal Chaos with the Guru and Rachelle.
And let's get, somehow we're going to get me in here, and somehow we're going to get Stevie Rachelle in here, and then we're going to make us big, like Stevie talks about his junk. Anyway, Stevie, welcome back for, well, I should welcome myself back, but welcome back for another episode of Hair Metal Chaos Live.
Anthony, like my little title says, welcome back, Guru. I know you just spent 3 or 4 days out and about, going through airports. What's that old movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Planes.
Driving around,
That's right.
getting lost, driving around some more, checking into a hotel, having to fight with the shower.
Happened to sleep next to Patrick, waking up with my hand between two pillows. Those weren't pillows. Anyway, I love that movie.
The bed is a little smaller than, is that light too bright? I'm trying to adjust my lights. Maybe that's too close. I should back that up a bit.
Yeah, you're a little bright, but I can see and I hear you good. So, yeah, it was an amazing weekend, and we're gonna get into it. I met so many cool people. It was actually shocking. We already have 172 people in here. Holy shit! But I want to see who's in the comments. Hey, in the comments, and I already see stuff about Dolly Parton, and we're gonna talk about that. What a bummer today. But let us know. Let me know if I met you, or if you were at the mountain. Let me know if I met you. And hopefully, if I did meet you, I was a good guy. And George Scarvellis, who says he was in an Atlanta airport, and I met him this weekend. So he said he's going to miss the show, but he did log on in time just to say hi. I see my buddy J629, who is awesome, and he is in here. I see Ladies SR. The Bacon Jr. is here. Stephanie Mandel is here. I just wanted to say hi to some people. Gigi Loves Rock. There are a lot of people in the comments. I'm going to start.
We at 200. We're at 200 almost, baby.
Almost at 200.
In a matter of a couple of minutes. That's awesome. Thanks for logging on, everybody.
Charlie, come over here. Charlie, everybody's got to see Charlie right now, because Charlie is carrying around my my pillow that I wore. Well, now she dropped it. Here, Charlie, get over here. Now I'm trying to get Charlie in the picture. Charlie is right here, and she was just walking around carrying my little airplane pillow.
She likes it.
And Charlie had a blast hanging at Grandma's house. She went to my mom's, and Grandma took her for walks every day. And anyway, Charlie had a good time. But yeah, there are 200 people in here. We're gonna get into talking about the mountain. And we're hoping to get into a little conversation about AI in music, because Stevie just learned how to use AI, and he created our flyer this week. And when he shared it on Instagram, I was kind of surprised that there's a lot of people who are and I'll get that up here in a second. A lot of people talking positively about AI, a lot of people who were kind of shitting on the use of AI. So I thought that might be a good conversation to have. But We always start with what's going on Sludge and what's going on the Hair Metal Guru. And look who's here. Tammy from Stiskel and Ebert. Tammy from Lincoln, Nebraska, my awesome friend. Hey, Tammy. So, Stevie, what's happening on Metal Sludge this week?
Well, I didn't put an article up yet, but I guess it's I got to keep with the regular weekly updates. And you just mentioned it. We're going to talk a little bit real quick about Dolly Parton. I will say, when Eddie Van Halen died that day, when I went in I literally was about to go in the shower when I found out, and I cried a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm an emotional guy. As I'm getting a little older, maybe I'm gotten a little bit more emotional. But I thought, without Van Halen, most of what a lot of us really did in music going over the course of, did I just lose you or did you lose me? I'm still here, right?
You're still here. I hope I'm still here.
Yeah. I was like, wow, if it wasn't for Eddie Van Halen, and you really got me in Eruption and Jump and all those songs, Ain't Talking About Love, you're like, I probably wouldn't be here because, without Motley, without Van Halen, you don't get Rat or Motley,
Yeah.
Dolly Parton, I cried again today. I did. I looked up, I was in my living room. I looked up, was on the TV, breaking news, Dolly Parton dies. And I just thought, I can remember being a kid in the 70s, Jolene, Jolene, whatever, however it goes, I can't sing that melody. She's an icon. She's beyond an icon. She's beyond a legend. It's on my news station right now. It's just everywhere. This woman is 80 years old and has been, in the forefront of our musical brains across the board for most of the last 6 decades, and not only a talent, but sweet and wow, talk about a stunning looking woman, even well into her later age, she still always looked good and wanted to present well and had such big songs, and the 9 to 5 movie thing, and then Dollywood, which I've never went to. She was married to the same guy for like 60 years or whatever it was, and hey, a year ago, Motley Crue did a remake of Home Sweet Home with Dolly Parton. So, or she contributed on some vocals on like a reissue or something, or a remaster. And so it's just another check mark in the list of points to prove we're getting older. Our generation of everybody that's watching this is probably anywhere between mid 30s and 60s. We might have some young teens or 20 somethings on here, but most of everybody that's watching right now is 48, 52, 60, 59. And we all know who Dolly Parton is. So very sad day for music, for entertainment, and mankind in general. She's what do they call it? An American treasure. I mean, in the country pop music world, she's who's higher up. Yeah.
She transcended everything. I did just a little minute. I was out walking today, and all of a sudden, I'm look on your phone, you're following social media and shit and praying that I don't get hit by a car. And
right.
And all of a sudden there it starts coming, all these people. And Charlie is driving me nuts here with this pillow. All these people are sharing, and I'm like, I started thinking, I'm like, I remember thinking that she was just a movie star. Right. 9 to 5, the best little whorehouse in Texas. And
right.
And then, you get older and you start hearing like the songs, and then she's like this, she was involved in all this reading stuff and getting books and
right.
I wouldn't claim to be a big expert on Dolly Parton, but
right.
It's just everybody loved Dolly.
Right.
And, so I was bummed, and I try to, I'm like, I get a little sad. And, I mean, I could be emotional. Shit, I've cried more times on this channel than fucking I care to even talk about. But I also try to go, you know what? She made it to 80. I remember thinking, if I made it to 80, I would think I was a pretty lucky bastard. So, at least you can go, you know what? She lived a full life. Finally, it's nice to say, oh, I mean, of course, anytime you lose somebody like that, it's
Right.
too soon.
Right.
But you know what? If you, I've always thought if you made it to 80, damn it, you had a pretty good run, and Dolly had a pretty good freaking run.
Right. I'm 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah.
Along with my amazing girlfriend, Stephanie. We're both in the 60 club now. And it's hard to believe. I spoke to my mom the other night. She's 85, and my mom's still going a million miles an hour.
Yep.
But, I can only hope that I get a few more years,
Yeah.
And Dolly was amazing. So that's the first thing. I didn't post anything on Sludge yet. I was going to, but I got super busy today. It was like 105 here. The house is just like an oven. And either way, I kind of got sidetracked with my day. But what's going on your channel? And I gotta make sure this is plugged in. Go ahead.
Sure, no problem. Well, I'm going to do two things at once while you're doing that. On Friday, we always drop album reviews on Friday. We did a roundtable review of the Heartbreak Station album from Cinderella that I luckily got time to edit Thursday when I was in Knoxville, or when I was in Gatlinburg. Put that out on Friday. It's kind of a controversial album because they really changed direction. There was a lot of country, a lot of blues influence. Anyway, we did a review of that, but I wanted to point this out. I got, like not that I hate saying like, oh, as we get big, not that the channel is big, but as the channel grows, you start, you get a lot of cool stuff and you get some negative stuff. And so I got a few messages this week on social media saying that some YouTube channel, I don't know who it was, but whatever, that some YouTube channel was making, a YouTube channel that deals with music like I do, was making a claim that I was trying to get them, YouTube strikes, or I was reporting this channel. And anyway, so I'm assuming, since I got it from like 3 guys, that it actually happened. So I have never gone on YouTube and tried to get a YouTube strike on another channel.
Who has time for that?
Right?
Especially in your schedule, which is now, I can say, since we've been friends and we've known each other for a few years, we started communicating probably a year and a half ago.
Yep.
But this year, you and me, even as much as we work together now or have affiliated, ourselves in one way or the other, you and me can't even find the time to get on the phone like we could 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Because of all this stuff you're doing, I'm doing, you're going here, doing this, getting ready for that. You're doing a ton of content. So at the end of the day, I talked about this on a previous channel. At some point, your brand is it's blowing up. It is. And I'm not just saying that. Other people in the industry, not just fans, but guys in the industry, peers, had said a lot of good things about you. And I knew that this weekend you were going to get mobbed, for lack of a better term. And you said you took about 5 steps in with your wristband on day one, and there was the first person, and then a second, and then a third, and you weren't on the floor 5 minutes, and you already had taken 8 or 10 photos with people.
Yeah.
So Tracy Guns once said, "If you don't have any haters, you're not doing it right." And Anthony, congratulations, you're starting to get some haters.
Yeah.
And we've seen it across the board. But it's like Tracy said, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right. No matter what you do, whether you're Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham or whatever her name is, a WNBA, no matter where you stand in any practice, if you become a little bit more known at some point, you're going to have the detractors. So I say ignore that and don't give it any oxygen, because we know that that's not the case.
Yeah, and totally true. I just, like, I don't know if you watch this show, hopefully that doesn't seem like my personality, that I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go get like, that is so not me. Anybody that's ever been on my channel, I just wish them nothing but the best. But anyway, so that's not the kind of thing that I would ever do. And there are 289 people.
Wait, so
here.
You tried to get a strike against Sebastian Bach's channel? Dude,
Well,
what is wrong with you?
Hey, Sebastian Bach could come up in the conversation. He was at the mountain. So I don't know if we want to get into like the little bit of a fiasco, the tough related fiasco, but maybe that can, when we talk about what's happening. There was a Sebastian Bach story that was interesting. And I'm trying to, as I'm talking,
or
I'm
three.
Or three. I'm seeing people I'm trying to star comments of people that I met. I met so many. Yeah. So anyway, we're still. So what was the second thing that you wanted to talk about from Sludge?
The second thing is, hang on, I got to make myself a little note because I got to bring this up about haters. Because we're going to talk about haters a little bit more. Buck Cherry, Charlie,
Yeah.
But you left her for 4 days.
I know.
She's like,
she's like, quit doing that, you bastard. I'm pissed. She was
so,
okay.
I've known the guys in Buck Cherry. Well, I'm not great friends with anybody, but I've known them forever. I remember seeing Josh Todd, and I think, I don't know if they were called Slamhound or they were called something else. One of the first times I saw him was at his very first band from San Diego.
That's the band that I know of.
Yeah. So I remember seeing them play at the Roxy, and he had a little bit more blonde hair going on, a little longer, maybe some eyeliner, wearing a mink coat or something. But I remember he came out, and I just remember thinking, man, that singer's got a big mouth. And I meant that in context, like Mick Jagger, Steven Tyler, I mean, he just loud, big mouth, lots of teeth, big lips. And he was just, dude was going, I mean, balls out. He was like probably a teenager. I think he was from San Diego, but he was killing it. And so I've known Josh for a long time. We've just been very casually acquainted over the years. If I'd see him, I'd be like, what's up, dude? But we never really hung out. We've had a few chats on the phone over the years. But I know Billy Rowe, who's been in the band for a while now. He's from Jet Boy. Billy's a good guy. I've met Stevie D a few times. I don't know all the other guys. At least I'm not sure of who's all playing with them. I know there's been a couple of guys in the lineup. But obviously everybody hears or heard they were involved in an accident. So I guess they were traveling from point A to point B, I guess post-show, maybe early in the morning or late at night. And there was multiple car accidents on the road. And I think what happened is there was an accident. A guy got out. Supposedly another car hit him, and that person got killed. Yeah. Their bus was, I guess, coming up, and then other cars started slamming on their brakes. So they were involved in some form of a collision. Now, it seemed to be pretty serious, or at least it started to get a lot of press. I mean, it was everywhere. Yep. I think I saw 3 different articles about it just on TMZ alone. Thankfully, everybody in Buck Cherry was okay and uninjured. There was one fatality in a car that was ahead of them. But that was something I covered on the Sludge, and I got some intel pretty early from a source pretty connected to the camp, but I will not divulge. But I got a text message and said, hey, man, check this out. So I put something up about it, and just glad that the guys are okay. This can be challenging. I mean, obviously we've seen other things. Cliff Burton is a good example. I saw Ozzy with Metallica opening up in probably late summer, early fall of 1986, and with Cliff Burton. a couple months later, they were touring in Sweden, and their tour bus, I guess, hit some ice, and they ended up
Yep.
getting in an accident. And of course, we know Cliff died. You know,
Yeah.
is just it happens that fast. So happy that Buck Cherry are okay. Covered that on the Sludge, and it was covered on a lot of other musical outlets and entertainment outlets and news outlets. So good to hear that Josh and Stevie D, Billy Rowe, and all the other guys and the crew are all safe.
Yeah, and we just cracked 300, by the way. Thank you guys. Holy shit.
Awesome. Awesome.
By the way, check out my Soto Beeler shirt. If Jeff Scott Soto is in the comments, somebody let me know. I got some cool Jeff Scott Soto stories about the weekend. I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, speaking of that shirt, I've got a little note. We're going to talk about Soto and Beeler and their affiliation with the Hater Club.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to that in a second.
Right. But anyway, I remember when Lit Up by Buck Cherry exploded, and you're like, holy shit, this is like, right up in 80s rockers alley. And then they disappeared for a few years. And, their second album kind of bombed. And then I saw
Time Bomb was the song, right? On the second record.
Time Bomb.
Okay.
And then I go see him at a club in Fargo, a small club. And I'm like, holy shit. Buck Cherry was so massive. But I remember that night they played this song called Crazy Bitch. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Right. And a couple months later, that song blew up and the band was, so that was it was a crazy, but anyway, I was going to say about that thing. A lot of people shared that story and made it seem like somebody from Buck Cherry died. And I just thought that was kind of unfortunate. Yeah. Because it was a tragic thing, that somebody did lose their life in that. So anyway.
And in between those first two Buck Cherry records and 15 with Crazy Bitch on it, Josh went solo and he did the Josh Todd Band, which I went to one of those shows at the Troubadour because I was invited by a guy named Wednesday 13 with his band that he had just joined, and they had just put out their debut, Murder Dolls.
Yep.
So I went to that show. It was Wednesday 13 and Josh Todd at the Troubadour. That was the first time that I met Wednesday. Well, I had met him when he was a kid. He came to our show, but I don't remember that. He does. But then when he came out here, he got in contact with me. So I went and picked him up at his hotel room. I hung out with, met him and Joey briefly. Rest in peace to Joey Jordison. And then I took Wednesday to a 50s diner in Van Nuys, and we had some food and hung out. Then I went to the show that night, and I remember hanging out in the VIP room with Del James, who is known for his work with Guns N' Roses. He's been part of that clan since the heyday. And I knew Del since 1987 when I got in the band. So, but yeah, shout out to Buck Cherry. They're all okay. And what's number 2 on your list?
Well, because I was at the Mountain, I usually put out interviews every Monday, and there was just no time for me to be sitting in a hotel room watching a 3-hour interview. And I do have 2 close to 3-hour interviews coming up. So I think I may try to put one of these out at the end of the week. I have 2 interviews in the can with Randy O from Odin, who came to fame when, in the Decline of Western Civilization movie.
Yep.
Odin never really made it. He did get a major label record deal with a band called Lost Boys, but he's doing well now. He's he got sober, ended up working for Teamsters on movie sets for a lot of years. It was a fascinating interview because he talked about how that movie impacted him. He went through his addiction issues, got clean. And then I also have another interview with Nick Walsh from Slick Toxic. That was 2 hours and 45 minutes. So I'm kind of telling people this because they did not get an interview on Monday, but I'm still planning on you getting an interview this week at the end of the week. And then next week, I'll get back on a regular schedule. And I have some cool stuff coming up in the pipeline, some interviews scheduled that I won't announce until they actually happen. But you should get an interview with Randy O this week and then Nick Walsh from Slick Toxic next week.
Awesome. Well, and here's a little taste of what it's like when you have to travel.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like in The Artist, you know, you fly one day, you know, hotel, gig, back to the hotel, trying to find food, trying to sleep. Then you
yeah.
got to get to an airport at 4 in the morning, and
Yes.
sometimes you have to adjust the schedule for what you can or can't do accordingly, especially when it comes to, you know, I guess social media and being available to do those other things that you need to do.
I'm still kind of dragging balls, but Charlie
Right.
isn't because Charlie's sitting there still smiling and panting like crazy. What's the third thing you got for Sludge?
Third thing is, I gave a little plug last week. Michael Monroe of Hanoi Rocks
Yeah.
announced that he's going to do some shows in the States. Now, he's going to be on the cruise next year, which is
Oh,
the
Stevie.
Monsterwood. I see you. You're
Hey,
frozen, though.
to me it looks like Stevie just
Okay, you're
froze.
back.
People. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you're back.
Okay.
Am I okay?
Yep.
So Michael
Yep.
Monroe is going to be on the cruise next year, the West Coast
Yes.
Monsterwood, May 6th through the 11th. And a lot of these guys, especially from these Euro bands or bands from other countries, when they come into town, they try to grab a couple gigs, you know, on the front end or the
Of
back
course.
end of the cruise since they're already here. And being that they're going to launch the cruise from the West Coast, I knew that there was going to be some cool stuff happening leading up that weekend before, those few days before. And Michael Monroe announced he's doing 3 dates on the East Coast. I think it's like Connecticut, New Hampshire, and a show in New York. Then he's got a day or two off. He's going to fly to LA or fly to Vegas. He's doing Vegas. Then he's going to do the Whiskey a Go Go on Wednesday. I think it's the 5th because the cruise launches on the 6th. So, and a lot of times they're going to take those bands that are in from out of the country and give them those opportunities as opposed to going, hey, everyone's in town for the cruise. Let's give, you know, some local LA band a gig. You know, it's like it doesn't make
Right.
sense to us to put it on. We can play there, you know, year round. But so either way, I gave Michael Monroe a plug. There's I think 6 or 7 dates plus the cruise, and he doesn't play in the States a lot. It's
No.
hard to to get out here, and obviously going through the entire country is very hard. Um, but he's going to hit the West Coast for a few, and of course the East Coast for a few. So find yourself some time and go buy those tickets because those shows will sell out, and they're not just going to sell out. They're probably going to sell out before the gigs even happen.
Fuck.
So that's my
Hey.
number three.
Okay. And
What
I
what what do you
will.
see
Oh, just for a second, it was like you froze again. So
again? Okay.
remember the chaos. Remember, people, it's chaos, and there's a lot of chaos that goes on here. I'm a massive. If you ever like seen my house, there's a huge Michael Monroe and Hanoi Rocks poster back over there. So I plan on going to see, and I'm plugging in my light again, going to see them because I will obviously be at the cruise. And Stevie, are you still with me there, Stevie?
I am. You look a little weird, but I don't know. Do I look weird again? Am I?
You just froze for a second, but Buck, we're all right. We're all right. Hey, shit happens. Hey, we're not professionals, ladies and gentlemen. We're just music douchebags who are like trying to figure out the internet, the interwebs. Anyway, I will be, since we are gonna be on the cruise. Everybody, man, the cruise lineup is fantastic. Get on the cruise. I've never been to one, but everybody is telling me, like this weekend at the Mountain, dude, if you think this is awesome, and it was awesome, like wait till you see the cruise. It's fucking amazing. So I will be trying to get my Michael Monroe tickets to see him at the Whiskey before the cruise, and then to see him on the cruise. So that is kick-ass news.
So speaking of last weekend being kick-ass and the cruise going to be kick-ass as well, I remember when you were going to go to Kiefer Karabi. When was that?
Yep.
A couple of months ago?
Yeah.
And at this point, we had already started to do the podcast. Maybe we just had started it, but your channel was really starting to grow in leaps and bounds. And when you said you were going there, I told you that I thought that you would probably get approached by fans about 10 or 12 times that night. Yeah. And you were kind of reluctant to agree. I don't know. You were being a little humble, I guess. But you then told me the next day that I was close, that you got approached a lot. And then I think you went to what was the other show you recently went to?
Lita Ford and Firehouse
Okay, and you got recognized there a fair
a few
amount.
times.
And then for this last weekend, what do you think the rough number is over 3 days that you got asked to take a photo? I
I
know what
wonder
you
if
told me
Pat.
the other night. On the other night on the phone, you told me, and it exceeded what I thought. I was going to say probably 80 to 100 times, and you were like, it might have been 200. Like, I mean, I saw dozens of photos of you on Facebook from fans that are saying, I met the guru, I met the guru. So I was,
I,
genuinely, I was stoked for you. Super
I
stoked.
I felt like I took about 200. I mean, geez, when I say that, and yeah, because I get like, fuck, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I felt like I took like 200 pictures this weekend, and I think
Awesome.
almost every one I tried to be like, hey, well, let me take a picture. So my phone is fucking full of pictures. I don't think I took one with, but yeah, it was, like I walked in the door. I didn't even get to the concert venue, and somebody comes up and they go, "Hey, you're the guru," and I was like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Where are you from?" And blah blah blah, and we took a picture. And by the time I was done with that guy, there was like 5 other people standing there waiting, and so Patrick, and
It's fucking
Patrick is
awesome.
standing, and we're handing out dog tags, and this is what I have left of my merch that I got from Jason Moit. So anyway, there's a little bit left, but we had a shit ton.
Right.
But after 10 minutes, I was like, okay, we took all these pictures, and
Right.
Patrick and I start walking away, and I'm like, holy fuck, we haven't been here 10 minutes. And
And then
that was insane.
somebody else walks up again. Like,
And
hey,
and
can I
and
get a
we hadn't even been to a concert yet.
right?
And so it was, I mean, it just every time I got approached, I just tried to say, man, I'm just, it's incredible the amount of people. And I'd be sitting at a concert and somebody would turn around and go, holy shit, I watch you on YouTube. And so the amount of people who were okay, that it's
It's
uncomfortable for me
awesome.
to talk like that.
Yeah, but it's
So
awesome, dude. And I got to tell you, because I am co-hosting this podcast with you, and I've obviously been flying your flag for a while. A lot of fans know that, I'm your supporter and I'm your friend as well, as do a lot of the guys in the band. And I can't tell you how many times I got messaged through inbox or people messaged and said, "Hey, dude, I met Anthony. He was awesome." And even the guys from the bands, a lot of guys said stuff, people coming up to
right.
you. And, so what was the first show you went to?
So well, if you follow and I won't go through the story, if you follow my social media, Patrick and I got lost for 2 hours on the first day, Thursday, before the first concerts were on Friday, and fuck, and
He,
everybody
he
then
also
everybody
got
was
he also got lost going to the whiskey when he was in
then,
LA about a month ago.
then everybody was reminding me that I got lost going to the whiskey. I'm like, fuck. That time it was Jeremy's fault. This time it was mine. Anyway, on Friday was the first official day, and if you don't know, and this is my first time, but it's at a big convention center in Gatlinburg. And speaking of Gatlinburg, as you're driving through Gatlinburg, guess what place is either in Gatlinburg or right next to Gatlinburg?
Dollywood.
Dollywood.
Yeah.
So me and Patrick are like, holy fuck, Dollywood, Dolly Parton, and then she passed away today. So that was just kind of ironic. But it's at a huge convention center, and Gatlinburg is a major tourist town. Like,
Okay.
there's rides and cool restaurants and shops and arcades. Like, if I was a kid, or fuck, even as an adult, like, I would love to go
And
spend some
bears.
lions
Bear.
and tigers and bears. Oh
Fucking
my! I mean, rumor has it that Jeff Scott Soto is still like cuddled up next to a bear, waiting for the bear to fall asleep so he can get out of there. Anyway,
Probably.
Jeff, just give it a back massage and rub its belly a little bit, and that'll probably ease that'll probably ease the tension for you. Anyway, so it's a big convention center. On the main floor, there are 2 stages. So
Right.
you'd be watching one band, and then people would be lining up for the next band on the other side. And then
So the
there were like
stages are on opposite ends of the.
nope on
They're not.
on the same end. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
there's a huge floor and tons of seating, and
Right.
there's one stage right here and then another stage right next to it.
Okay. Okay.
But some of the shows were so packed that I mean the whole thing would be full.
Right.
And I'll just say this, like Drummer Boy Jones and Patrick and by the way, those guys, that was the first time I'd ever met those guys. It was amazing. I think I have a picture of us. There is the 3 of us, me and Patrick and Drummer Boy Jones. Anyway,
Awesome.
Jones
Shout out to Patrick and Drummer Boy Jones.
those guys are the best, man. But Jones lives in Tennessee, so he's been there
Okay.
before.
Right.
And the first day, I can't remember what concert we were watching, but I'm like, I said, I don't know what I expected, but I didn't think there were going to be this many people here. And he
Right.
said, dude, he goes, I was here last year, or whatever the last year it was. And he said, I think there are twice as many people
Right.
this year as there was the year before. So I don't know what the normal attendance was, but there must have been like 4,000 people there. I'm taking a guess.
Mhm.
But so the first show that I went to was Wild Street. I'd never seen them before. I've heard of them.
Out of New York.
Out of New
Eric
York,
Jake.
kind of a
Yep.
Eric Jake, sleaze rock band. They had some sound issues that they got settled by about the 3rd song.
Okay.
They were good. The first band I was really jacked to see was Soto Beeler. So if you don't, Jason Beeler is the guitarist, songwriter, and after album number 2, the vocalist for Saigon Kick. But he's been teaming up with Jeff Scott Soto, who played with Yngwie. He was with Journey, Talisman. He's done his own solo projects. He sings with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And he did tell me that, no, the entire orchestra is not trans, just a few of them. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. That was my own joke. But they've been doing these Soto Beeler shows, and they play some Saigon Kick. They do a ton of humor. They play like TV show theme songs and covers. But anyway, there must have been 2,000 people there for them at 2:30 on Friday. So they were phenomenal, and Patrick is a huge.
So you
Yep,
were
go
there
ahead.
to support them.
Yeah. So
You were there to
yeah.
support them. And then
Yeah.
at some point, Jeff decided to call you out from the stage. And
Yeah.
then, speaking of haters, we see that Jason Beeler made fun of us because he took off his hat and said, "Look at this full head of hair I have." And I texted Jeff and Jason. I said, "You guys should start your own podcast called Bald Metal Gurus because you both have hair, since you guys were making fun of me, I guess, in some way,
Yeah.
and you for not having
Yeah.
hair." So, yeah, I can understand you're getting all this fame, and Jason Beeler is starting to make fun of you. So, welcome to the club, Guru.
It was cool. They shouted me out during their show. Jeff Scott Soto said something like, "And the hair metal guru is here." And he's like, and that guy's kind of strange because he's kind of new to all this. And he's like, when people come ask him to take a picture, like he also takes a picture. And he goes, it's my goal to get him so sick of taking pictures by the end of the weekend. So everybody go take
Go
your
up.
picture with the hair metal guru.
Right.
And so but all joking aside, it was really cool. I really appreciated them just pointing me out and giving me, even joking wise, a little bit of love during their show. So, and a lot of people did come up and want to take their picture with me after their show, but they were awesome. That was on Friday. And so I guess I'll just kind of point out, after that, we saw Tora Tora, and did you ever do anything with Tora Tora back in the day?
Not that I remember, but I actually hooked Anthony up with a gig last fall, but he came by himself, did an acoustic performance, and
Yeah.
I know that he actually, you know what? I did see him play at Rock and Skull in Illinois about 10 years ago. That guy can sing his ass off.
Oh shit!
I mean, all day long. Great singer, and he does it. He does it every way. Does it with live bands. He can sit down with an acoustic by himself, and yeah, he lets it rip. And he's a pro's pro. That dude can sing his ass off, and he couldn't be a nicer guy. So shout out to Anthony. It's Corder, right? Anthony Corder.
Corder.
Yeah, good guy. And I think he's from Tennessee too, so he's kind of a local there.
And they were, I don't know if they were the best live band, but if they weren't, it was close.
Right.
Their show was packed, and I'll say this, like I've never been like, oh my God, Tora Tora. I like Tora Tora, but I walked out of that show going, holy shit.
Right.
Tora Tora blew me away.
Yeah.
Live. So, and then we saw Tuck Smith, who is a newer artist. He kind of has a Cheap Trick, pop, harder edged rock feel. He was phenomenal. And
he was originally the singer of a band called the Biters, right?
The Biters.
Okay, out of Atlanta?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
And Tuck Smith was awesome. And then we saw Lynch Mob. And I'll point this out, that you can't see every show. Like there are times where, you might, like, for instance, I went and saw Gavin Evick, who is Pete Evick's son. He has a band called the Gavin Evick Band, and they were phenomenal. I saw them on Saturday, but Patrick was at John Corabi. And I saw half of Gavin's show and then went and saw half of Corabi. So there were times, like on the first day, I could not go see the Cruel Intentions, who features Lizzie Devine from Veins of Jenna that you worked with back in the day. So I missed them on Friday because I knew I would be able to see them on Sunday. Anyway, saw Lynch Mob, and I do not know that there's Georgia's new singer, but that singer was fucking
It's
unreal.
Andrew Freeman.
Are you sure that was Andrew Freeman?
Andrew Freeman. Andrew Freeman sang for Lynch Mob. He sang in Last in Line, the Dio tribute, and then he's filled in for some other guys. He's filled in Great White, I think, a couple times. Yeah. And who else did he play with? He's been around for a minute. Very powerful voice, big voice. So yeah, that was Andrew Freeman singing for Lynch Mob.
And I was reminded this is April Howard, and
which one is April?
She's the one on. Wait.
Let me put my glasses on.
She has hair.
Oh, okay. There's my little April.
And you'll notice if you zoom in that she is wearing a purple Hair Metal Guru dog tag.
Awesome.
But April and Larry Moran and that whole, they just took care of everybody. It was, that thing was run. I was like, holy shit. Can you imagine the logistical planning?
Yeah.
To set all these people up, have however 30 or more bands. They're over 3 days at this convention center. All of the people that are working this event, the security, all of the food vendors. If you see that hallway, there were vendors like from record labels and people selling rock shirts, and it was, I just was like blown away at how smoothly this whole thing ran. So April, you were awesome, and thank you just for what an amazing weekend. So I wanted to shout out April, and I know April is watching because I saw her in the comments. So April,
awesome.
Thanks for being here.
And most people, I'm guessing, that are watching this know, but the Monsters of Rock and the Mountain Music Festival, which used to be called Monsters on the Mountain at some point, they've
Yeah.
rebranded the name. It's basically this pretty much the same group of people that are running
Yeah.
this and coordinating. And like you just said, logistics, wow, there's so many things. The same with the cruise. You're
Yeah.
talking 50, 55 artists from around the globe, from dozens of countries and fans from dozens of countries, and then getting on a ship for 5 days, or even coming to this event, which is a full 3 days. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and a lot more than fans sometimes know.
Yeah.
You yourself just you came to LA for a week,
Yep.
the better part of a week. Then you did this, down to Gatlinburg, and there's a few other things that you're going to be doing later this year and next spring.
Mhm.
And you were talking about how you were pretty wrecked from
Oh,
3 or 4 days out here. We're doing a live podcast at the Rainbow. Then we're doing a rehearsal on the next day. Then we're doing the whiskey on the next day. What was supposed to be Anaheim that got postponed with the Slaughter Quiet Right. We did this special studio event. Then Saturday, you're hanging out with Rocket and Blotzer, and Sunday, and next thing you know, you're getting home and like, wow, so many things to do, so many places to go, so many people to see. The same thing applies here, and having to get up and do flights and getting lost or getting delayed. And I heard Lynch Mob, their plane was delayed to the point where they had to get in a vehicle and drive for like 10 hours overnight and literally arrive just in time to play. I read a post that Jaron had put up, the bass player. So
right.
that's part of why Lynch Mob ran late. And I guess they couldn't do the meet and greets as well, because their flights got delayed a few times, and they ended up having to literally get in a van and drive overnight for like 10 hours to make the gig.
Yeah.
So
and in addition to playing, all of the bands had meet and greet times. There were a couple bands that played twice, and then you and I did a hair, or it wasn't Hair Metal Chaos, but a live. They had to deal with Bret Michaels canceled. Because he had health issues, and it was a pretty seamless transition. They moved Bullet Boys into that headline slot. They got another band to play a second show for the after party. So anyway, the logistics. So April is watching the show. Thank you, April. You're the best. And make sure you keep wearing that Hair Metal Guru dog tag.
And Larry, if you're watching, we'll get you a Hair Metal Guru dog tag as well.
That's right. Or a Hair Metal Chaos one. Larry, you just let us know. So here I'm going to point out, and you just mentioned Bobby Blotzer. I have a cool Bobby Blotzer story from the weekend. So J629 said you at the Monster. I was calling it Monsters on the Mountain. I guess I didn't know that they had, but it's the Mountain. This is called the Mountain. J629, thanks a lot, man. And J629 says, what was your favorite part of the weekend, brother? Well, I'll just tell you this right now. The band that blew me away the most, Stevie, was the Cruel Intentions.
Really?
I was blown away. And so I saw them Sunday, and everybody, I saw so many shirts of the Cruel Intentions, and so many people were like, dude, you need to see the crew. They were amazing, because I missed them on Friday.
Right.
So I'm seeing all of these shirts. So right after they played on Sunday, I went up to the merch booth. I'm like, I'm getting a Cruel Intentions shirt, and I'm going to buy their CD. They were sold out of shirts. So I asked the merch guy, I said, well, I'm like, well, maybe they didn't bring that many. I don't know. So I go to the merch guy. I said, what? Is there a band that is like blowing you away with like how much merch they're selling? And he said, the Cruel Intentions is fucking selling out of everything. So anyway, big shout out. So they would have been, Jay, the band that blew me away. And Jay, the best part of the weekend was the amount of people that I talked to and took pictures with. Here I'm going to get a couple. Lady SRM, thank you. You're just super chatting. That's really cool. I do not only have super chats in here. Ryan McCusker, shout out to the Guru Mafia. Patrick, Ryan, Jeremy, I'll add Stone, Drummer Boy Jones. Yes, you guys are the best. Here's a comment. TTS42 whatever Pleasure meeting you guys. Best for me on the weekend were the Cruel Intentions. My first time seeing them, they brought the energy, sounded fantastic, played 2 different sets. And here is another one. So fucking high. Dolly has been around my whole life. I definitely feel an emptiness today. Rest in peace. Definitely, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Stevie, your cousin, Keith Ryan Cartwright, is
up,
in
Keith?
here. He says, if any singular accomplishment defined Dolly Parton's legacy, it is the Imagination Library. Over the past 30 plus years, Miss Parton has donated more than 332 million books. Man,
Wow.
that is such a good point. And I taught high school English. We used to have posters of Dolly up in the school and talking about that. So absolutely. The Bacon Jr. show says we are having a Hair Metal Chaos watch party. By we, I mean me and my fuck. Okay, so I wanted to point this out. Friday, I after the next show that I saw half of Sebastian Bach, and he was great. That guy still is singing.
Lots of energy. Lots of energy.
Lots of energy. He has a great bass player who helps him out on some of the high notes, so he can like prepare himself for some of the screams in those songs.
Right.
I did not see all of Sebastian Bach because I want to point this out. And Jeff Scott Soto texted me. But
I was just going to say I didn't want to interrupt you, but he just texted and said thank you for the love, guys. So shout out to Jeffrey.
So the reason I left Sebastian early is that there was a club called Smith & Son that was hosting, like, Don Jameson and Jim Florentine did comedy sets, but they do a thing where they have rock stars do comedy. Well, Jeff Scott Soto did his first comedy event, and I thought, you know what? I could see the rest of Sebastian, or I could go see somebody who I consider a good friend, Jeff Scott Soto, do comedy. So I left Sebastian early and went, and here is a picture of JSS doing comedy at Smith & Son, and he was phenomenal. And I was like, after he got done, me and Patrick sat with him for a little while, and I'm like, dude, I said, that was impressive because I like to think that I can be funny from time to time on the channel, but there was no way you'd get me up in front of a crowd and where I have to be funny.
Right.
And so he knocked it out of the park. He was great. But because I went and saw JSS do comedy, I did miss, I feel bad. I did miss Piercy DiMartini Friday night. So that was kind of the end of our Friday.
But you saw Piercy last summer when you went to Bret Michaels.
I saw Piercy last summer. So
and let me tag on the Cruel Intentions part of your thoughts and some of the fans that are commenting.
Keep going.
Lizzie is awesome. You know, Lizzie's an absolute rock star, and Lizzie was the reason why when I saw Veins of Jenna in 2005, 21 summers ago, I saw them play at the Whiskey A Go-Go at Crew Fest. They were the first band out of 10. They opened the doors at 5:30. There was maybe 30 people there. They went on at 6 o'clock and played for 30 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, who is this band? They all looked very young. I didn't know anything about them. And then I went to the dressing room afterwards and found out that 2 of them were still teenagers. They were from Sweden. 2 were brothers. Lizzie was the old man of the group. And I think he was like 22 or 23, and he looked like he was 14. And he was just, it's Motley Crue meets Marilyn Manson meets Buck Cherry meets Hanoi Rocks meets Guns N' Roses. You know, that's what Veins of Jenna was. So I immediately wanted to work with them. 3 days later, I had him at Gilby Clark's studio. We produced a couple of songs. They released an EP called The Demos. And then I decided to be their manager. So we put together a deal. They came back to the States in May of 2006. And my goal was to get them a record deal. And in the 90 days they were here, we did exactly that and got signed to Bam Margera's label. and then spent the next 6-8 years taking Veins of Jenna all over the U.S. They went to South America, they went to Europe, put out 3 or 4 records, and Lizzie was the leader of that band, and he was awesome then. And then at some point he got married, kind of stepped aside. He was working at Gibson Guitars in Nashville for some years. And then he did a few solo shows, then moved back to Sweden and got married. And then he started his new band, The Cruel Intentions, which have grown over the last decade or so. They put out a handful of records. They're great. They've been on the cruise. Larry knows Lizzie since Veins of Jenna was on the, oh, there we go. Lizzie and Veins of Jenna were on the Poison Rat tour in 2007. I got him on that tour, main stage, and various other tours. And Larry told me, I love those kids. He loves Lizzie. And so they've been on the Monsters of Rock cruise a few times. They've been at the Mountain a couple times. And they're going to be here at the Whiskey in a couple weeks. So I'll go out and hang out with Lizzie. He's awesome. So if anybody remembers Veins of Jenna, that's what you're seeing in The Cruel Intentions. This is the new and improved version with Lizzie and his new lineup. They're based out of Oslo, Norway, and they're great. And you can still buy some of their stuff. The RLS Records releases, Lit Up, Let Down was on Filthy Note, The Art of Telling Lies, the demos, all of it is available, CD and some vinyl, at the Metal Sludge store. But yeah, go support The Cruel Intentions. They're amazing. And Lizzie's a great performer, as are the rest of the guys. And I look forward to seeing them here at the Whiskey in a few weeks.
That is me and Lizzie. I walked up and tapped him on the shoulder, and he turned around and he was like, "Oh!" He goes, "I've been meaning to," because I was So he was like, so we sat and chatted. We talked about getting ready to or doing an interview at some point. This is
awesome.
The newest Cruel Intentions CD. It's called All Hail Hypocrisy. And I'll say this, they played the title track live, and it's not very often that you hear a song and right away it sticks in your head.
Right.
Go check out the song All Hail Hypocrisy and this album, but that song, fucking right away, I leaned over to Patrick and I go, dude, I've never heard this song before, and I fucking love it. And I couldn't get that song out of my head. So amazing band. So I need to get a shirt, but they were fucking sold out. So anyway, yes. So that was the end of Friday. And so I'm going to tell a really cool Bobby Blotzer story.
Awesome.
Blotzer, and this happened Saturday when we're on our way to the venue, and we have 360 people here. Holy shit.
Wow.
That blows me away. Anyway, damn. Hold on. Yeah, I got
actually, I think my left bicep's better than my right one lately.
No. So anyway, hold on. Jeez, let me get. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so I went and hung out with Blotzer in LA. So we call each other and we shoot the shit from time to time.
Right.
So he calls me as we're walking down to the venue, and I have him on speakerphone because it's like, fuck, we're walking. And Patrick's like, holy shit, Bobby Blotzer just called you. Anyway, so we get down to the venue, and I'm like, I've talked to Blotzer enough to where I feel comfortable doing something like this.
Right.
We get around some people, and I go, hey, everybody, I'm talking to Bobby Blotzer from Rat. If there are any fans here, come on over. And, a couple of people are like, bullshit. And I'm like, I am. I mean, I don't know. So then I go, hey, Blotz, sorry about that. And he goes, no shit, it's okay. Have him come over. And I'm like, so here come like 5 or 6 people. We're standing outside, and this girl who is young is like, is that really Bobby Blotzer? I fucking love Rat. And I'm like, no shit. So I'm like, I go, it is. So she starts talking to him, and I'm like, how old are you? 16. She's there with his dad. So Blotzer hears that, and it was so cool because he starts going, hey, you're 16. You be careful. Make sure that you hang around, your dad. I'm sure everybody there is great, but you just never know. And that's,
right.
people are drinking and stuff. So she's like shaking and goes, I can't believe I'm talking to Bobby Blotzer from Rat. And he's like telling her to be careful. Anyway, it was just really cool. A couple other people came up and they were like, Blotzer, you need to get back together with Rat. And he's like, yeah, and he's talking to him. And they are just loving that they are talking to Bobby Blotzer. So I just thought that was really cool
Awesome.
of Blotzer to do that.
And shout out to Blotz for giving some people some love like that. That's always a cool thing. Yeah.
So anyway, and I want to get into some questions because I feel like there are a lot of questions. There's 374 people in here. So I'll just kind of I'll tell you what I did Saturday. And then we can kind of, we'll get into Sunday and we'll start taking questions. But anyway, Saturday, saw Crazy Licks for the first time. Another Swedish band that
yep.
has been on my radar for a while. There's something about Sweden that, so I'll say this, Crazy Licks was awesome. They also had some technical issues, which, at a festival like this with so many moving parts. Anyway, just the singer, like for a song, his microphone cut out. He got back in. They were phenomenal. I went and saw the Gavin Evick band, Pete Evick from the Bret Michaels band, his son.
Yep.
They have a couple singles out, Redline and Young, Wild, and Crazy. And then they played a bunch of covers. Brett Carlisle from Great White jammed with them on Youth Gone Wild. And I think maybe, do I have a picture of, oh no, that's Eddie Trunk. Who is this? So that's me and Big John from
Gavin, yeah.
And Gavin. And so Gavin's set was awesome. I was shocked at how, not that I didn't know his voice was as good as it was live. It was phenomenal. Big John was there. He was so complimentary about that interview that we did, and the amount of people that were going up to say hi to him. Who else did? So I saw half of Gavin Evick's show. Then I went and saw Karabi, and Patrick had been at Karabi for the whole show. He's awesome. I mean, he's just a rocker through and through. I'll say this: a lot of shows that I didn't always see the show because I would be out in the hallway, because that was where you were meeting people, and so we were taking pictures with fans. We were talking to like Kenny McGee from Juliet was at the Eonian Records, had a booth. That's when I met up with Eddie Trunk and Jim Florentine, and Eddie was very, very cool.
Awesome.
Approached him. Jim Florentine was like, "Hey, I know who you are." He's like, I've seen some of your videos. Eddie was asking about the channel and about the radio show. And so talked to them for a little bit. That was cool. So I heard White Lion. I didn't necessarily see them because I was talking to people. And saw Lita Ford played that night. I didn't see all of her show, but Jackal was phenomenal. I'll say this, a lot of people thought Night Ranger was one of the best bands, and I'm a huge Night Ranger fan. They were great. And then Bullet Boys closed out that night, and they played after Night Ranger. They played in place of Bret Michaels. And then Patrick and Jones and I went out and ate with Jeff Scott Soto at a steakhouse, him and his manager. That was awesome. So that was kind of the end of Saturday.
Well, and I'll tell you this, you kind of were telling me, we talked a little bit over the weekend at some points, and, you were saying, God, I want to see the show, but, I told so-and-so I'd go see this. And, you're like, I'm not going to be able to make it to both. And, the thing is, it's exactly what happens at any of these events, and especially on the cruise as well. Because when you're on the cruise, it's 5 days. There's 5 or 6, maybe even 7 locations where there's performances. And what's happening is there's, like on the cruise, you have the pool stage, you have the big theater, then you have 2 or 3 other lounges. There's, some of these, they call it Studio B, or that's an ice rink that they cover the floor. That's a smaller or another area to play. Then there's maybe, a spot where there's stand-up comedy or there's an acoustic show. And you can't see everybody. You just can't. Things are overlapping. And what you just started to say is really what takes place and makes part of the cruises awesome. Is you're walking down the hallway and suddenly you run into somebody. Dude, what's going on? And it's a band that we're friends with or acquainted with, and you played a couple of shows together 30 years ago. And you haven't seen the guy that much since, and now you're just kind of catching up. And they're like, and then it's like, hey, this is my daughter, and this is my grandson, and I'm doing this, and hey, what time do you go on? Hey, I got to go meet somebody for lunch. So, dude, good seeing you. And you shake hands and you say hello, you take a photo, and 10 minutes later, you're walking into a show, and just as you're walking in, somebody else is coming out. They're like, dude, I need to talk to you about. And so then you get pulled aside, and now you talk to them for 10 minutes. And so it's kind of like a little bit of a networking thing. Yep. It's also kind of like a class reunion thing where you suddenly are just, there's so many people you haven't seen in a while or you haven't caught up with or you're, reconnecting with somehow. And then you just find yourself doing all that. So you can't go and go, okay, I'm going to watch a band for 45 minutes. Now they're done. Okay, I'm going to watch this band for an hour. Oh, I'm going to watch this band for 40 minutes. You don't have the luxury to do that. I mean, you could, but then you'd be giving away or putting to the side all of the other hellos and meet and greets and the stuff where you run into this manager or this agent or this podcaster or this radio host or band guys or even the fans. You yourself now are getting to the point where walking throughout the venue, a friend of mine, Matt Lemieux, probably some people watching know who Matt is. Matt goes on all the cruises. He's a former military guy. Does a lot of buying and selling and trading of CDs. He does his own distribution of certain products. And he messaged me and he said, I saw Anthony. People were, talking to him nonstop and he was getting ready to walk away. And I told him two things. One, you can't go yet. I need to talk to you. I want to get a photo. And then at some point he goes, okay, I know you want to go eat. So try to get out of here before you get stopped again or something. Right. Right. So, and that's exactly what happens. And then at some point you have to go, man, I just need to go back to my room for an hour and decompress and, use the bathroom and change my shirt and put on some deodorant. And, I guess the good thing about the cruise is that your hotel's a little closer, your cabin. You guys had to walk a block or two, to get back to your room. And then in doing that, you're getting stopped on the street. And if you go into a restaurant, there's a bunch of people waiting and they're like, hey, dude, so. Right.
I wanted to point out Sullivan Big, who runs BTE Entertainment, who represents like Gene Simmons and a bunch of bands. He was there. It was awesome to meet him.
Slaughter, Quiet Riot, Striper, Vixen, Vince Neil. He's worked with Adler, Lynch Mob. He does some dates for Sebastian. He's always been very cool to me. I've been a friend of Sullivan's for 20 plus years, and I'm fortunate. We're fortunate that the Tough brand is on his roster, so he gets us some stuff, and Vane and Cold Sweat, and he deals with some of our smaller bands as well, which is awesome. He's got a lot of really big name bands, and he also gives some love to some of us. So Sullivan's a great guy.
Yeah, awesome to meet him. And I'll point out, Gavin Evick is watching the show, and I know, and now, I'm going to forget his name. The bass player, I met him from Brett Michaels' band, and he is watching the show. So, Gavin, I saw you in there. Thank you so much for being here. So, I'm gonna try to, let's do a few questions or comments. And then we can talk a little bit about Sunday, and we got 360 people here, and we have been on for we still got about 50 minutes left. That's awesome. So here's a Twiggy Jimmy. Everybody loved Dolly. She had all of our backs. Misfits to metalheads to country heads to all humans and all animals. I kind of feel like she transcended any sort of label. Like metalheads love Dolly.
Well, she did that reimagined version with Motley Crue last year, a year ago in 2025 with Motley Crue. She did the Home Sweet Home. And Aiden Keys, I just saw your comment. Tough should be on the mountain next year. Yeah. Hey, April and Larry, throw our name in the hat. We'd
Hello?
love to come and play the mountain.
We'll promote the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Sam, and I might do some of these kind of quick because there are so many. Saw
I
some of Rick Spring.
I saw a couple clips of him too. Man,
Oh,
was he bringing it? And that guy's a couple years
77.
away from almost 80 years old. That's insane. That's insane.
Unbelievable. Yes. Stephanie Mandel says everyone hit the like button. That's right. That's
What are
right.
you? What are you in charge or something?
Yeah, what are you trying to run this show, Stephanie? Real cool. Real cool. Trying to take over, probably trying to steal my
Speaking
channel.
of Stephanie, got a picture of her.
Look how pretty she is.
That's me. This is her.
Oh, wait. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Yep, I got you. I got you. Joe DeLenza, Guru and Stevie, greetings from Windsor, Ontario. Like Patrick always says, best channel on YouTube. Must have been a trip meeting him and Jonesy for the first time. It was awesome. Those guys
Thank
are like
you,
my
Joe.
brothers. And Stevie, you know, like I look at you guys, all the stuff that we do, you guys are like my family because shit, I talk to you guys more than anybody else.
You're kind of blurry now. Did you like sneeze on your camera or something?
I don't think so.
It suddenly looks a little. Yeah, you're really blurry. Or is that just me? Look in the comments. Am I the only one? Because I look no older than
like shit.
59 and 3/4. Let me just clean
Guru, you're blurry, bro.
Yeah, you are.
Do I need to refresh my thing?
I don't know if you like.
I'm gonna refresh, but first I'm gonna point out that I did meet the Monkey Boys, who everybody was talking about. So there's me with the Monkey Boys. And
those guys are awesome. So I sent them some swag. I've yet to see them.
Cool.
I think they pimped it in a story, but I want them to put on the Sludge and the Tough shirts and do a flex off. So
all right, I'm gonna refresh. So Stevie, take over here for a second.
I will. So as we were saying, everybody out there in La La Land, Jeff Scott Soto, I have an update, was not eaten by a bear. It sounds like Mr. Saigon Kick, Jason Beeler, was trying to start some kind of crazy rumor about Jeff getting eaten by a bear. I don't know where I'm going with this, but now that Anthony's back, you're no longer blurry. But yeah, Jeff didn't get eaten by a bear, but I did see a bunch of people shared videos of bears walking around. So they're that friendly, and I guess there's no issue or there's no concern that they're going to suddenly maul somebody. I saw Mark Tureen of the Bullet Boys was talking about a bear that was outside the window at some shop, and it was pretty interesting because the bear was just nonchalantly walking up and down the sidewalk, and everybody was kind of watching him and filming him. So,
everybody, I think I'm the only one who didn't actually see a live bear. Even Charlie's like, I'm gonna see a bear too. Patrick saw one, but he's like, fuck, it just went over there, and I was like, fuck, I'm the only one not seeing a bear. But they're all over the place apparently. So,
and I don't think a bear would eat Jeff Scott Soto. I mean, Jeff's a pretty good sized guy, and he doesn't look that edible. Just saying.
He's kind of a skinny little twig now. So he might have a better meal eating Jason Beeler. Just kidding, Jason.
Or eating the food out of Jason Beeler's beard. There's got to be food in that thing. I mean, I make fun of his hair, and I was going to say something about getting hair dye. I wanted to smack him around on social media, but I thought if I make fun of his hair, that's not going to end good for me.
That's right.
Because I don't have any hair. So Jason would definitely be coming back. Jason's very sharp with the wit. So I'm sure he'd be telling me about having the option to do whatever he wants with his hair since he has a bunch of it. And it was hanging all over his face. And what are we pulling up here? A dog tag? Or?
Like my comment here says, it was great meeting you. And when we rocked our dog tags, so I brought 100 dog tags. And I think I got about Charlie. Holy shit!
What'd she do?
You knocking over lights and you're being so naughty. Why are you so naughty? But I gave away a bunch of dog tags and bracelets. I do have a few things left. So anyway, Jason Moit, thank you for the excellent merch. Which, why am I thanking him? I paid him for it. Just kidding, Jason. Jason has the best merch around. So
He does. And everybody that ordered last week, I put some kind of hair metal chaos stuff in there because we had a bunch of stuff when we did the rainbow and the whiskey, and you gave stuff away when you were introducing bands. And so little by little, we're starting to spread the love. So everybody that has a bracelet or a dog tag, Guru or Chaos, share it on social media.
Yes.
Tag Anthony, tag me. Yes. And at this point, we've given it all away. We haven't charged for anything.
No.
When we start charging, it's going to be through the roof. So in the meantime,
we'll try to cut you a break.
Yeah, we'll try to cut you a break. But yeah, let everybody know that you got some free stuff from Anthony and from from Hair Metal Guru and from the Hair Metal Chaos stuff. We've been kind of throwing it around a little bit. We want to get the word out there.
It's wild when people tag me and they're like, "Hey, I met the Hair Metal Guru." I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like some people think that is worthy of posting on Facebook. So I am so honored when people do that. So thank you, you guys. Here is to a chef and barbecue. I think Anthony framed up a bunch of tough stuff for Stevie. Have you seen Anthony's garage full of framed memorabilia? If you see all this shit, my garage is full of this shit. I'm going to have a garage sale sometime this summer, and I'm going to try to get rid of it all because I'm too busy with YouTube to be selling that shit.
I have a few framed things on my wall as well. I'm in my office today. Well, my main office, it's actually my third bedroom. It's the small bedroom, which my kids used to use this room when they were really little.
So that's not the bedroom where the magic happens? No,
that's down the hallway. And then, the last couple of weeks, I was kind of in my living room. And before that, I was actually there's like a sunroom off my house, and it's got like a weight set, and it's got a heavy bag, and it's got a desk in there, and some shelves with a bunch of product as well. In addition to the the garage, 2.5 car garage, which you can't even put a bicycle in. Well, maybe a bike, but not a car, because it's full of
merch.
It's a mini warehouse. Yeah, there's, I think, 12 or 14 shelves and a couple aisles of shirts and CDs and all kinds of wacky stuff. But yeah, you probably should downsize a little bit. I need to downsize as well. I have so much stuff and I don't need it all. So great to meet you, Guru. Thanks for the necklace.
Norman Voss.
Norman.
This is Brett Michaels' bass player.
Oh, okay.
So awesome to meet you, man, and no problem for the necklace, and glad we got to take a picture together.
We should cover that Brett stuff too. Read a few of these, and then I'll give you my insight on what happened with the Brett thing.
You know Nick. I don't know.
Nick Colv. Yeah, Nick Colv's from Indiana. So was he at the?
Yes.
Was he at? Yeah. Okay, that's right. I think he did message me or send. Did he share a photo with you?
He may have, but he does the Motley Crue,
Crew Fest. Yeah. Nick is awesome.
Yes, and Sam Keys, who was there with his son, he's the one who actually got the video of the Jeff Scott Soto shout out. But when I met them, Sam was wearing a Metal Sludge shirt, and his son, I think Aiden is his name. And he was wearing a tough "What Comes Around Goes Around" shirt when I met those guys.
So you did I seen some Sludge and some Tough shirts floating around in some of the photos that people were sharing. So I was happy to see that. Yeah.
Totally. And Matt Volker says, love the channel, Guru. And Stevie, I got my CDs. You're awesome. You are awesome, Matt Volker.
Thank you, Matt. Much. Thank you for supporting. Like Matt just said, thanks out, a thank you and a shout out. And you can find the whole Tough catalog, the RLS catalog on eBay, on Amazon, but you're better to order from the Metal Sludge store. There's more options there, all in one spot. And I'm always happy to sign and throw you some extras. So thanks for the support. You were a dick to me, but but bought me steak anyways. Oh, that's Drummer Boy Jones.
That's Drummer Boy Jones. Yes. Yes. Drummer Boy Jones is awesome. It was so great hanging out with him. Kenny Chavis says, "Hey Guru, after the mountain, do you see the impact you have had on our music era? It's just been awesome." Kenny, thank you, man. I don't know what impact I've had, but
Kenny just ordered something from me as well. I know he's ordered over the years a couple times. Thanks for the support, Kenny. And you're right. Guru is having a good, solid impact. Fans and industry types and bands alike are all, giving you some love. So good for you, Guru, and your whole crew.
Yeah.
Drummer Boy Jones was there, rocking the Dick House shirt. Patrick was rocking a tough shirt.
Yep.
RVK was there in spirit, along with Stone
and Jeremy.
That's right. Jeremy was with you down here at the whiskey. Okay, let's see who's messaging me now.
And Up in Flames. Hey Guru, when you gonna post your LA stuff? It's coming. And it's going to be a shocker when it comes because it's going to be a shocker because it's been so long since I was in LA, and I probably seem like a lazy fuck. I try not to be a lazy fuck, but when it comes to the LA stuff, there's so much, and I'm trying to organize it. So anyway, that is coming. Jackie Ray says, "No AI in music." We're potentially going to talk about that. And what else? Oh. Max Impact, was great meeting you, and thanks for the purple dog tags. Jeff McPeak says, "Hey kids, Jeff, thank you for that super chat." Charlie, I have never seen you so needy in an episode.
Well, you abandoned her all of last weekend.
I know it. And Mr. Neil Phipps, thank you for the super chat, says, "I read today is the 34th anniversary of the release of Dog Eat Dog." Anthony and Stevie, what's your favorite songs? I'll just say this. I think that's one of the greatest albums of all time. So
I think you're high. I do think Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinkin' Rich and Cherry Pie are both great. But I didn't necessarily think Dog Eat Dog was the best follow-up for those two. But
right.
I don't always matter.
Jesse, I met Jesse. Jesse's got to be like, 21 or 22 or something. And she says, "Hey, Anthony, what an amazing weekend of music and great running into you at the mountain. Happy to see you and Stevie back to Hair Metal Chaos." Jesse, to see like somebody young like you and who loves this music and was, meeting all these artists and likes this show, man, that gives me faith in the future. You're the best. I'm so glad we got to meet, and I'm glad you got to get a dog tag and all that shit. So thank you so much. And I'll do one more, and then we'll go talk about Sunday. And Donnie 190 Green Ratliff says, "Did you get to meet Jason McMaster on the mountain?" I didn't, but I did meet Paul Lydell, who from Dirty Looks, who was playing with Dangerous Toys. And he says, "My old band 190 Grain opened for him twice for one of his side bands, Broken Teeth. I love Broken Teeth. The second time per his request. One of the coolest guys ever." Stevie, you must know Jason. I'm assuming at some point you've met him, maybe?
Yeah, I don't like Broken Teeth. I like mine actually all together. I do have a little chip right here, but I love Dangerous Toys. I've known Jason forever. Jason is an OG. We've known each other for 35 plus years, and it seems like not every time, but several times that I played in Austin, Jason would come down to the show at some point and say, "Hey." We've always been cordial to each other. We've shared a couple of good phone calls. I've done his, Talk Louder podcast that he does with Dave Glessner. Good guys. So there was a time when I played a festival with Shameless in Mulheim, Germany. This is like 15 years ago, maybe longer. And it was Vane was also on the bill. Hardcore Superstar was on the bill. Dangerous Toys was on the bill. And at soundcheck, me and Davey and Jason were all standing there talking. And we were just like, is this really happening? It was like 2012 or something. And we're in Germany at some cool convention center on a big 10 band bill. And, Jason's there repping Texas, and Davey's there repping the Bay Area, and I'm standing here repping, Sunset Strip, and we're all just kind of basically giving each other love, high fives and fist pumps and handshakes, and just saying, "Wow, we're still here, we're surviving," So yeah, love Jason McMasters. He's always been a good guy. And is that Schneids? Or is that that's Lonnie.
Huey.
Giving a shout out to Schneids.
Schneids is in the house.
And my cousin, go ahead. You go first with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Captain Mullet says, great meeting you. Did you get to see Stone Whiskey? I didn't.
Is Stone Whiskey? I think they're a Kivell Records band.
They may
John
be.
Kivell, I think. Pretty sure. Oh, there's Gavin.
And there's Gavin Evick. Awesome to see your show. And then I'll stop with this one. OKC Vikes fan, living life through you, Guru. Man, thank you. Because that's, if people think that, then that's awesome.
So my cousin just checked in and said hi. He made the comment a little bit ago, Keith Ryan Cartwright, about Dolly donating books. Keith is my cousin. He's essentially like my little brother. And he's worked closely with me for many years. Keith was the guy who helped me basically start and run RLS Records through the 90s. He was our tour manager on the road. He also, I called him up 10 years later when Veins of Jenna was going on the Poison Rat tour. Bobby Dahl told me, I need you to have at least one guy that knows what's going on. I need somebody responsible. So I called Keith up and I said, Keith, I know you don't want to do this, but you have to. So I sent him on the road to tour manager Veins of Jenna on the Poison Rat tour. And he had some good stories when Bobby Dahl wanted to stab his eyes up with a big pen over who knows what. Maybe the band was late getting there or something. But yeah, Keith's awesome. He's a published author. He's written some books on the rodeo. He works for, he's the assistant general manager and head of A&R for the world champion Nashville Stampede rodeo team. So if anybody out there watches the PBR or watches the team series, I myself had never been to a rodeo event. I've known of it for my whole life. And Keith had worked closely with that. He worked for the PBR for probably a few decades. Then when the Nashville Stampede and the team series started, he was hired to be the assistant GM and the A&R scout for the Nashville Stampede with world champion bull rider coach Justin McBride. So Keith invited me at some point, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, okay, I'll go to this thing. I went, blown away. It was more like a concert than a rodeo. I mean, I couldn't believe it. There was pyro and the music cranking was AC/DC and Motley and Guns N' Roses and Five Finger Death Punch and Kid Rock and 15,000 people at the Pond of Anaheim. And I've went every single year since. Right. So myself and Stephanie have went the last 2 years. We're going to go this year. Michael Lean's going to go with us with his wife. They're going to be here, I think, September 12th. And it's on TV on the weekends as well. So anybody that's a rodeo fan, I'm proud to say my cousin is affiliated with the Stampede. And this year they're in first place right now. I think they're 10-3. And it's a great event to go to, a lot of fun. And so, yeah, Keith's worked in rock and roll and rodeo. And written some books.
Yeah. And he's a hell of a nice guy, and he wears a mean cowboy hat, if I remember right, from
Keith's
Los
the man.
Angeles.
Without him, I would have slit my own throat on the road with Tough and Veins of Jenna. So instead of me having to do it, I let Keith step into my way, and that way Bobby Dahl could threaten to stab his eyes out with a big pen instead of me.
What is Tammy Stiskell texting me? Tammy, you're fucking right. Okay. Anyway, I think she was just saying how good looking she thought I was when I'm on camera. Do I really?
Oh, she's looking at this side of the frame, not that side.
Hold on. Just kidding. Ooh, should I do duck lips? Just kidding. All right. On Sunday, I went. The Cruel Intentions were awesome,
right?
And I'm gonna say we kind of missed we were kind of talking to people during Steelheart and Vixen. We could hear them. We were kind of doing, like Patrick and I, we kind of said that, like, obviously we wanted to enjoy the concerts,
right?
but really it was kind of like, I don't want to say work, but we were going there to try to promote, and to try to meet people, and to say hi to fans, and to meet industry people,
network.
And so that to network, totally
build friendships.
So I don't want people to say, "Oh, so you guys weren't there to rock." Like, of course we were there to rock, and we did rock.
Right.
But I was like, given the chance to see a concert, or to take pictures with 10 people, and to meet, some of the Eddie Trunk, and to meet, Sullivan Big from BTE. I mean, those were opportunities that we had to take advantage of.
And April,
who was awesome. So anyway, we did catch part of John Waite. John Waite still looks and sounds phenomenal. I was a big fan of the Babies and Bad English and his solo stuff. Patrick and I kept singing to each other. We were like, people talking and the saying that you're leaving. That's a kick-ass song. And then we went to Warrant.
Not when you sing it though, but go ahead.
I heard people like it when I sing tenor, and I'm like, tenor, and they're like, yeah, tenor 15 miles away. Anyway, we went to Warrant, and we did get to meet Warrant. And I just realized that I don't have my picture on my computer, but Patrick and I got to meet Warrant, and then we only caught part of 38 Special, and I'm gonna feel bad for saying this, but we missed most of Rick Springfield because by the end of I had to be at the airport in Knoxville at 4:30 in the morning.
This was Cry me a river, night. Mr. Going on tour for the second time in your whole life. Try to do it for 40 shows over 6 weeks.
Right. Dude, I am sure. I was so So anyway, so we go to Knoxville that night, and the next morning we get to the airport, and who's there? Fucking the guys in Warrant at 4:30, so we kind of said hi to them, and they were actually on my flight to Minneapolis, and said hi. I think Robert Mason, Stephen Sweet, and Robbie Crane. But anyway, that is kind of the end of the weekend, and I'm sure I'm missing a ton. Jesse, I found the picture. There is Jesse. Jesse, and I don't know if that's I think your boyfriend. Great meeting you guys. Got to meet Chris McClernand, and Chris McClernand just published a book. Chris McClernand from Cold Sweat and Saigon Kick, and hopefully it's okay if I say this, but Chris was like, he goes, man, during our interview, he goes, you were so complimentary of my writing skills, and that was one of the inspirations for me to go write my book. So anyway, Chris McClernand has a book out. I need to get it off Amazon. So great to meet him. And that kind of wraps up my weekend. So Stevie,
was Chris wasn't he in the Cold Gin Kiss tribute band too? Okay.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
With Jamie St. James and Tommy Thayer. Yes, he was.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go back, but that was kind of, the weekend was amazing. The bands were phenomenal. The whole thing went off without a hitch. I know a lot of people were bummed about Bret Michaels, but what can you do? I mean, he had an issue, and so it was awesome.
So that whole thing. So Friday night, I'm sitting at home, and I know it's your first night. You're out there doing whatever, and it's already 11:30 your time. It's 8:30 my time, and I get a text. I won't say from who.
Right.
But I got a text, and they said, "Are you up?" And with a question mark. And this person the text came in from is pretty tight with some of these projects, bands. And so, in a nutshell, I learned about Bret's situation on Friday night, immediately following his concert. And I was like, oh, wow. So I started putting some details together, and then was given a little bit of intel. You and I were talking or messaged, but you were like wrecked. And I think you were like, I'm getting ready to go to bed or something. And I was like, I don't want to. I was about to tell you, hey, I think you need to prepare a video, but I thought, you know what? I've been told I need to hold off on something until the morning. It's pretty early,
Yep.
and so I shoot you a message first thing in the morning. Are
Yep.
you up yet? And then I contact Patrick, and I'm like, hello, is anybody there? And I know that you were probably pretty beat. Patrick
Yep.
replies, and he said he's sleeping, and I'm like, okay, well, figure it out, get some coffee, because I think we're going to need to do a clip here pretty quick.
Yep.
And then it was
Yep.
within an hour or so, you messaged me back and said, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, I just announced this. Bret Michaels is canceling tonight, probably the rest of the year. He was seen by paramedics after the show. You know, he probably wasn't completely healed, but we know Bret, he's a workhorse.
Yep.
Said, I want to go do this. And they did one show. They didn't even play the full show. They did cut some songs and went to right to Nothing But a Good Time.
Yeah.
He was, I guess, struggling, having some issues. And so obviously then we went live Saturday morning around what, 10 o'clock or something, your time?
It was 10:30 my time, Eastern time where
Right.
I was. So 9:30 Central.
Yeah, something. So either way, so then we went live and obviously talked about it. And Bret is, you know, Bret's probably going to take off the rest of the year. And,
Yeah.
you know, for a guy like him, I did at some point talk to Pete. And Pete basically, in so many words, said Bret's fucking pissed. He wants to play. You know, he doesn't want to be sidelined. You know, this is a guy that's used to going, and you know, for him to take off, he just took off almost a month.
Yeah.
Because of some stuff. And then I went and looked at his calendar.
Kidney stones or some shit
Yeah.
like that.
Well, and we know. I mean, I know I had gallstones. I had a gallbladder, a cholecystectomy. Gallbladder surgery last September. I was hospitalized for almost a week, lost 23 pounds. My girlfriend took me there to the emergency room. I was basically screaming when she got me there, and they had to bring a wheelchair to get me in. And they were like, what's wrong? They thought I was shot. You know, I was just like, you know, and at some point they wheeled me in, and that was a hellish week. And then a couple weeks later, I was readmitted again for 3 days.
So I know that hemorrhoids
for hair loss. They're like, there's nothing we can do to help you, dude. You're fucked. But I know that Bret, you know, was probably in absolute hell with whatever he went through. But then he decided to go try to do this show plus the heat. And then he was going to do back to back. But obviously they had to cancel Saturday. Then we started seeing all the comments. Why don't you fly in Rocket Mafia? Why don't you fly in this band? I mean, trust me, you can't fly a band from the East Coast and lose 3 hours. You know, it's just it doesn't work like that. And the weekend was already sewn up. You know, you're also in the middle of, you know, the Smoky Mountains. It's not like you can go like, hey guys, do you have a Concorde to get you here in 3 hours to be, you know?
Right.
So obviously, and who knows what the other bands already coordinated their departures to go to the next city or to leave next morning. So they just said, let's let the night run as it is. They were going to have Bullet Boys do a late night performance anyways. Let them take the main stage.
Yep.
You know, it's a reunited all original version. They perform well. You know, the band is solid as hell. Mark's an entertainer. The band is solid. Let them do their thing. And then, like you said, some other band got a second set based on the fact that the Bullet Boys was moved to the main stage.
I think it was Bad Marriage.
Tommy Skeo's band. But you know, it just goes to show you, you know, Dolly passing away, Buck Cherry in a you know, involved in some type of a related accident, Bret having his health issues. Obviously, life is fragile, especially as we get older, and just, you know, the thing with Buck Cherry, I mean, 20 seconds difference. If they were further down the road, their bus could have maybe been the one plowing into that first or second accident. Because I guess it was 3 different accidents. It was essentially a chain reaction of sorts. Does Charlie have to go outside to take a leak?
She's sitting on the couch just staring at me.
You know, I'd probably bark if I saw you up close like that too.
Fuck. Shut the fuck. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So, but
yeah, it was shit. Yeah. So I figured, you know, I figured they were either going to move Bullet Boys in and have Night Ranger close. They just ended up having Bullet Boys close. And like you said, you don't know if Night Ranger had to get off the stage and fucking go to the airport. I mean, so there's all sorts of logistical. That would be a logistical nightmare to bring in some new band. So they handled it the right way. And I think everybody there and a lot of, you know, Bullet Boys is great live. A lot of people were like, fucking A. Bullet Boys was awesome. So
Skank Neurotic in the house.
And thank you. You are awesome. She is here every week. The amount of people who are here every week is awesome. BC and NC. Blake is awesome. Give us one story of someone acting too 80s. Anyone overdo it? Make a scene. I mean, the Monkey Boys do that on purpose. They act all 80s, but I mean,
with their half shirts on, flexing,
with their
and
half shirts on.
Good guys, good kids.
I think if I wore if we wore half shirts, it'd probably look like we were wearing bras. Maybe, not sure. Stephanie Mandel says, Stevie, for 10 more returns to Amazon. I don't know what that means, Stevie. Do you?
Oh my God. Stephanie loves her Amazon. She orders a lot of stuff, but usually there's returns that have to go back. And I'm the mailing and shipping expert. So every weekend I'm at her place and she's usually sending me home with something to go, honey, you need to take this back to the Amazon store. Can you drop this off at the UPS store? Can you do this? But I am her assistant. And I'll be happy to do whatever she needs, obviously.
You're a good assistant. John Byrne has been a channel member for 2 months. If you can join as a channel member and you'll get early access to some videos and really you just help support the channel. Thank you.
What's up, John? Byrne. John's an East Coast guy. He's the Iron Maiden guy.
Skank Neurotic says, stoked to see your LA videos. There are some amazing tough clips of their show at the Whiskey. And all sorts of stuff. I am just getting it organized. It will come out. And I think it's kind of cool that it's coming out this long afterwards because, you know, I was talking about it so much. So it'll be kind of a cool
well, and the thing is, you can't all, you know, especially with your schedule where you're doing interviews during the week, recording other content. Obviously, we just do this on Tuesday, but there's other things that you have to do. And at some point when you do gather some things, like Jason Green's done a lot of videos where he'll talk about a cruise or the 80s cruise, and he'll do day 1 or day 2 or day 3. And plus he's also doing his other content. So at some point you have to be able to find the time for you to go through what you saved, edit it, put it in order, you know, put together some thumbnails and do all that and then release it. And that, you know, sometimes it's as busy as you're getting and it looks like maybe the future will be a little busier. Let me ask everybody this, since we got everybody watching. Would you guys like to see us do another live that you can come and see us? Perhaps on the West Coast? Maybe later this year or early next year?
I'd be up for that. Yes. Yes, you would. I think they would. I'm going to get to SM6194. Keep killing it, Guru and Rachelle.
Thank you.
Fucking A right. So we're going to keep doing that. I got a couple more comments and then we're going to finish. I think we're going to talk a little bit about AI. Duty calls 8256. Guru being retired Army. I totally get your sex jokes, innuendos, and name calling. Reminds me of being in my platoon in Iraq. Only we didn't say just kidding afterwards. LOL, but it was implied. Jeff Scott Soto was giving me shit all weekend because I'll always say like fuck you, Patrick. Just kidding, Patrick. And so he was always like, he started when he would say something mean about somebody, he'd go, just kidding. And he goes, I got that from the Guru anyway. So yeah. I'm assuming duty calls. Thank you for serving, man. And yeah,
ditto.
I appreciate it. Stevie, where do I order some Guru merch? We are talking about getting some merch together for Hair Metal Chaos
Yeah.
and the Guru. So
I guess I better step on the gas on that.
better start getting moving on there. And John Byrne says, thank you guys for these super chats. I mean,
Appreciate it.
We really do appreciate it. John Byrne says, saw Stone Whiskey on the Crows last year. Really good band and cool guys. I've been slinging their signed records ever since. Shameless plug.
That's right. John he has a vinyl group on Facebook. I don't know what it's called, John. Plug it in here, and then and the Guru will pull it up. He's got a vinyl club, and they do all kinds of rare vinyls, and they do some kind of contests. He's bought vinyl from me. John, if you need more, let me know. I got Fist First and Glam Years and What Comes Around and Veins of Jenna's Art of Telling Lies and Jim Gillette's Proud to Be Loud. And he does some kind of vinyl club. I'm not sure how it works, but I guess you can sign up and people, it's like almost kind of like a, what is that called? Like a raffle. So everyone buys $5 tickets.
I know those.
And then you know, so you could literally win a $40 vinyl for $5, but a bunch of people will do the raffle. I think that's how it works, but good guy. And if you have any questions about Iron Maiden, John Byrne is the guy. He knows everything about everything related to Iron Maiden, including the guy's restaurants and side projects and everything else. So he's your Iron Maiden guru per se.
I have 3 comments left starred, and then we'll move on. But this is thank you for saying this, Anthony. You are becoming the go-to guy for 90s metal glam interviews. It's your ball game to win. I'm gonna try. I'm going to try to win whatever that ball game is because I really do love the interviews and the fact that they do so well is just awesome. So thank you for saying.
And we got some more in the mix too. You just plugged Nicholas Walsh is already in the cage. That's going to come out. And what's the other one that's coming out?
Randy O from Odin.
Randy O. And yeah, you got a few others that are being scheduled or scheduled right now.
Yes.
So, and I'm excited for some of them because it's also some, he says 90s. I think one of the guys that we just coordinated is more of a 2000s band.
Yeah.
Or are they late 90s? Okay, 2000s.
I think early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we get that one going because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And Stevie has been doing a lot. He reaches out to artists for me and says, hey, you know, this is my buddy's channel. You would be great on it. So I just wanted to thank you for all you do to help promote me and get these interviews. So thank you so much.
All good. Stephanie made me do it.
Stephanie made him do it. And
Yeah.
Justin Eisenbar says, I got a dog tag. Awesome. Tag me on Facebook. And the last one, Skank Neurotic. Looking forward to the Lonnie interview. Lonnie Huey, I still need to text you because I would like to get that interview scheduled. And I think you have my number. Freaking text me too because I want to get that scheduled. So, all right. Thank you. We still have over 330 or 337 people.
Wow.
And this whole night has been right around 350. I think we got up to 370 something.
Yeah, close to 400. Awesome.
So I do want to point this out. Stevie learned how to use AI. He created, and let me get rid of that comment by Lonnie. Thank you. And AI, and I think you ended up looking kind of cool, and I look kind of like a dumbass in this picture. So give me some bigger muscles next time. But anyway,
okay.
Sebastian Bach was kind of shitting on AI, which, you know, whatever. A lot of people shit on AI, but what did he say? Like things that are done with AI end up looking like they're dipped in piss. So
yeah,
Stevie,
he basically you know, I saw the video from YouTube, and then I will say this: I saw a lot of fans that said Sebastian was great, and he has that ability to perform
totally.
But at some point, he said something like, I want the youth today to do one favor for me, and that is destroy AI. I hate fucking AI. AI sucks. And then he said, you can tell an AI flyer because it looks like it's been dipped in piss.
Right.
So if anybody's wondering why I put that on there, here's the thing. Honestly, I've never used AI for anything. As far as music or, designing stuff. But I thought, I literally went into Google and I just said, AI, make me a flyer. And then I typed in, make me a flyer for the Hair Metal Chaos podcast on this date with a rocker guy with a bald head and a headband and blue eyes, and a guy with a skinnier guy with tattoos. And it actually, one of them made you holding a beer.
All right.
You just froze, Anthony. It
Shit.
made you holding a bottle of beer. So I told it, change the bottle of beer to a cup of coffee. Because I know you drink a lot of coffee.
Hey,
but
am I still frozen?
you're still frozen.
Okay,
Just
I'm gonna refresh
pop,
and you keep going.
pop in or out. But I had never used AI before. And I just went into my Google bar and I just started typing it and telling it. So that was probably like the 6th or 7th flyer. I kept giving it now you're there. I kept giving it, I told it what I wanted it to look like generally.
Yeah.
And then it started spitting stuff out. And at some point I said, something about tattoos. So it had tattoos on me as well. So I had to go like, okay, this guy on the left, no tattoos. The guy on the right, tattoos.
Yeah.
This guy with a coffee. This guy with a headband, So, but it was interesting and fun. And it spit out that flyer in 5 seconds or 7 seconds.
Yep.
But then when you edit it and you change one thing, it would give me a whole new version,
Yeah, totally.
And so, but it was interesting. And I did 5 or 6 of these. And again, I started to mess with it based on what Sebastian said. I think his comments are a little strong. I personally try not to use the word hate unless I'm singing I hate kissing you goodbye. And that's like, I don't want to kiss you goodbye, Stephanie. But Sebastian, was attacking it. And so then I put that out there and I did a little article on him that he was on stage doing this rant. And there was some videos of it online as well. A bunch of people are saying, I agree with Sebastian or I don't. Are you frozen again? Move your head. No, you're not. Okay. You're just looking steady.
Looking at comments. So you keep going.
But the whole thing is a lot of people are like, I hate AI too. And it's kind of sheeple of them to all jump because Sebastian said that. And I'm like, I don't hate AI. Not at all. I mean, I'm not going to make a record of it, but if some other bands use it for some form of, helping them with their whatever they're doing, it is what it is. At some point, people didn't like cell phones and people didn't like, PayPal, I don't want to do that. I still want to use a check. I still want to use cash. Technology is going forward. People don't like Teslas. I don't like, self-driving cars. I don't like this. I don't like that. And at some point, I forgot what it was. There was something that we were talking about in one of our podcasts, one of the early shows, where some people were talking smack, I think, in the comments on one of the videos. And you said something like, okay, well, are you still riding around in a horse and buggy?
Yes.
As well? How's that working out for you? Or are you deciding to drive a car like the rest of us?
Right.
Do you remember that? I forgot what the exact topic was, but
well, it could be because people are like, don't use this new technology that could benefit you. Keep doing what you've been doing. And I'm like, well, like, are you not using electricity?
Yeah.
Are you still using a landline?
Right.
Are you holding out for no? Let's keep riding horse, and because you cannot stop technology.
No, you can't
from coming. And so I made this. I used to, and I sucked at thumbnails. If you look at like my earlier interviews, like Drew
Right.
Rose, I have like all this crazy shit,
Right.
and they all sucked.
Right.
And then when I finally started figuring out how to use AI, it was creating them, like you said, in like 5 minutes. I used to sit on Canva, which is you can put pictures up and do all this editing.
Right.
I would spend an hour and a half to 2 hours struggling. And finally it'd be like 3 a.m. I'd be like,
And
I
you'd
gotta get this
and you get
video
a
out.
flyer that doesn't look much different than what you probably have right now,
Right.
which you can get in 10 seconds.
And yes. And I was like, so I would tell people, I'm like, look, I can either struggle for 2 hours or I can pay somebody to do these for me,
Right.
or I can have AI do it in 5 minutes. And I'm like,
Not even 5 minutes.
or
It's
less than 5.
20
you
seconds.
You got to write.
Right.
the
Yeah.
prompt and
You got
shit,
to write the prompts
stuff
and all
like
that.
that.
Correct.
And I'm like, I was driving myself nuts, staying up all night, trying to make thumbnails.
Right.
And now I have much more time to create videos.
Exactly.
So I'm like, sorry, but I'm on the AI train.
And shout out to who gave you some pointers.
Yep. Fucking Chris Aiken from
Classic Metal Show. Who
Totally.
I think, did he reach out to you? Because did you make a post and said you were struggling with it? And he said, hey, dude, let me help you out.
I
Something
just messaged him and I said, dude, I love your thumbnails. I wish I could learn how to do that. And he
Right.
goes, dude, this is what I do. He gave me all these prompts and everything.
Yeah.
And so Chris Aiken, fucking, you kind of saved my ass there for a while.
Chris
So,
Aiken's he's an OG. He's been in this business a long time. He's been doing podcasts a long time. And before that, he was writing articles for the Cleveland scene 40 years ago, as a teenager coming just out of high school. But no, I agree as well. I've had some people send me a couple of AI versions of Tough songs. Like my buddy Jamie Fonte, who played bass in Tough and was in the Cheeseheads and the Mistakes and plays in the Cherry Pops in Milwaukee. He at some point started messing around with AI, and he put in the lyrics for Good Guys Wear Black and told it, make this a country western song. And he hit the button and it spit it out in seconds, and he sent it to me, and it's amazing. I mean, it's AI, but it's amazing how the technology works. Artwork, different forms of modern technology. There's robots, making burgers at McDonald's right now. I remember being in a McDonald's in France about 15 years ago, and there was like 4 or 5 ATMs in this McDonald's, and everybody was lined up at these ATMs, and I'm like, why is there so many ATMs in the McDonald's? And then at some point, I think it was Alex from Shameless from Munich, Germany. He's like, that's not an ATM. That's the kiosk where you order your food. I was like, what? And I walked up to it, and it's like, Big Mac, push the button. Extra lettuce, fries, Coke, large, ketchup, 2 ketchup, credit card, slide it, boom. Spits out a ticket. Here's your order number. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And at some point, there's people that say, you took somebody else's job away. But at the same time, when you walk up to that same counter and you see the 16-year-old pimply-faced kid who hates his job, and you go, hi, I'd like a Big Mac. What does he do? He pushes the button that says Big Mac. Combo or sandwich only? I would like a combo. Pushes the combo. What kind of drink? Coke. Large? Done. He's pushing, so they're paying him $20 an hour to push the 4 or 5 buttons. I can push those buttons as well and then not get frustrated because the kid accidentally ordered a fillet of fish. Did I lose your volume? I can't hear you. I wonder if everyone else can hear you. Can everybody go in the comments and say whether you hear me and or Anthony, because Anthony's volume just died. But either way, I believe technology is going forward. We need it. It's helpful. And I don't think everybody should use samples all night long. I don't think everybody should use samples or AI for every single thing under the sun. But I think to some extent, it's a vow. I don't hear you. Do you hear me? Thumbs up if you hear me. Okay. I'm not looking at the comments. Anthony's no longer frozen, but his voice is muted. So fingers crossed when he comes back.
Son of a bitch. Can you hear
There
me
you
now?
are. Now I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. You can't like people used to say like Uber and stuff. Oh no. Well, you're gonna get rid of the cab drivers. Well,
Yeah,
Uber is a better product.
it is 100%.
Efficient. And I saw somebody in the comments, and I'm going to find that because I started, who
Yep.
said, hey, we're going to lose all these jobs. And there are going to be some jobs that are lost.
Correct, but there's going to be jobs that are created because of it.
And we're going to gain, like, eventually AI is going to be so good, it's going to be able to solve massive problems and health issues and all sorts of. So there's going to be some trade-off.
Let me ask the person that says we're losing the jobs. I've toured this country off and on for 35, 40 years. Back in the 80s, when we went on tour, we would have to go to a truck stop and buy a Rand McNally map, or each state. You'd have a state map of California, you'd have one of Arizona, and you'd literally, in your glove box, you'd have a stack of maps like this. Mm-hmm. Hey, where are we? Oh, we're in Ohio? Okay, pull it out. By the time I was managing Veins of Jenna, we went on their first tour in the fall of 2006. Lizzie, always ahead of the curve with technology, he had GPS on his phone. And he was literally punched it in, and we had a GPS in the phone that was saying, take a left in 1 mile. You are 400 yards from your destination. And at some point I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Even the fact that you live in Los Angeles, and driving around, they used to have a thing called a Thomas Guide, which was a map as well that you could find every city, Glendale, Santa Monica, the streets, and you could find how to go there. But you had to go through this map, and essentially you had to have the knowledge of trying to solve a Rubik's Cube on to figure out where you're going. Now you just go, you type in your phone, and you're on your way. Phone books. Who uses a phone book anymore? Payphone. Who uses a payphone anymore? Even the phone technology. We used to have flip phones. Now we have a device here that we can do everything with. A computer. People used to do typing. Let me type all this out. Oh, I made a mistake. Use the whiteout. Click, click. Oh, I screwed it up. Let me start over. Now you start over again. The computer replaces all that. AI is going to help advance society as a whole tenfold. So I support it 100%. Dipped in piss or otherwise.
And
what say you?
I like people are like, well, musicians, like they're using it to create their posters, and somebody could be doing that. But are you telling a musician, hey, instead of using AI, spend $200 or $300 to have somebody create that for you? How many bands have that kind of extra money?
Yeah.
So I get where people are coming from, but musicians they're using Pro Tools. They're using all, should they all go back to analog?
Yeah.
You can't stop technology.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can only use it to the best of your ability. I use it to the best of my ability, and it helps me out a ton. And you're going to start using it, and society will have to adjust. Yep. There are going to be some jobs that are going to be lost. There are going to be some jobs that are going to be gained, and there's going to be a lot of benefits and probably some negatives. But you are not going to stop technology from coming in. You're not going to stop the progression of the things we are able to do. So you
were in the military.
Mm-hmm.
What year did you go in? 2000 what?
I joined in 93.
Okay, 93 you go in.
2015.
So had
But
Had you been in a tank before?
we didn't have tanks, my
You
unit.
didn't have tanks. Okay.
But our weapons, by the time we got done, we went from an M16 to a M4 machine gun with like laser fucking technology, and we had night vision goggles that were like, instead of this big huge fucking thing, we had these little night vision goggles. You would not believe the advancements from 93 to 2015.
And you could see from how much of a distance, like clear as a bell.
You could see anything moving at like 100 yards. It'd be like this glowing thing in the fucking dark.
Right.
And, I mean, yeah, it was insane.
And so 100 years ago, maybe more, they were using a cannon and putting a big ball of steel into it, loading a cannon.
It this way, maybe we'll hit our target.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and again, I don't follow everything with the military, but even some of these things that happened with the Ukraine and Russia, they're literally taking 500 drones full of each one with a bomb, and they program them, and they literally just push the button and they all take off. Nobody's in there that's going to get killed, at least not and it's not a plane. I mean, they still use jets, but there's drone usage. There's stuff happening with submarines and even in the Monsters of Rock cruise. When we went on the first Monsters of Rock cruise, like 15 years ago, I remember thinking, wow, this is amazing. Then about 3 or 4 years ago, we went on, it was a more modern ship. The ship was really modern. It was like only out for like a couple years. And when you go through the mall, when you used to go through the mall, you'd be like, we need to find the Foot Locker. So you'd go to center court and there'd be this big, tall directory with 3 or 4 sides of all the stores, clothing stores, restaurants, entertainment, shoe wear. Oh, here we go. Foot Locker. Okay. It's F3. Okay. So it's on the 3rd floor in section F. We're here. Okay. So we got to walk that way. The same thing with on a ship. But now some of the ships, you walk off the elevator and there's essentially something that looks like an iPhone, only it's the size of, 5 feet tall by 3 feet wide, like 4 or 5 of those together. And you literally just walk up to it and you start touching the buttons. And where do you want to go? Oh, I want to go to the restaurant. Okay, you type in the restaurant. It'll tell you, you're on floor 4. Go to floor 6, exit the elevator, walk to your right 30 meters on your left-hand side. Like literally, it's like I'm typing a flat screen or an iPad that's on the wall. That's technology, as opposed to going, well, here's a map that they handed us when we got on the ship 3 days ago. Let's look at it and see where we have to go, So again, I understand how some use can maybe bother some people or upset some people, or like you said, we're going to lose some jobs, but at the same time, it's going to create others. So I'm pro AI all day.
Yeah. As a former teacher, I shudder. If I were teaching right now, I'd be like, fucking put away your computer, give me a pencil and paper, because if we're just honest, that kids are going to jump on AI and be like, fucking do this for me.
Right.
So I get there are challenges, but we're just going to have to adjust, because you're not going to put the toothpaste back in the tube and say, ooh, we're going to go back in time and go back to the way it was. This is just the way it is. So, I think it's best to find a way to use it for your benefit. And hey, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to, but you might be like me and one day be like, you know what? I'm tired of battling with this thing. Yeah. I'm going to use whatever tools I have at my disposal to make my life easier and better.
And I will say this, as a parent, 2 kids, my daughter just graduated UC Berkeley in May. So she just finished her senior year at UC Berkeley. Almost 9 years ago, she was going to become a freshman at El Camino in Woodland Hills, California. And at this point, her brother's a year younger. He's an 8th grader. And they're kids, so at some point, when we took them to school, as you did with your kids as well, you show up day one and you walk them through, and they get an English book, which is like a small phone book. Then they get a science book. Then they get a history book. Then they get an algebra book. Then they get this book. And at some point, my daughter's backpack, it was heavy for me. And I'm like, she weighs like 90 pounds. She's a 14-year-old girl, 13-year-old girl walking through 7th and 8th grade with a backpack that weighs about 40 pounds. When we enrolled her in high school, we go to the high school, and for the orientation, we walk in, and every kid got a laptop.
Yep.
A laptop programmed with only programs. And again, people are like, oh my God, they're going to be on porn at school. No, it doesn't work like that. These laptops are programmed to only have the ability to go into the programs that are fixed for their schedule, you know? But it was interesting that they literally handed my daughter a laptop and a case for it. And all of her classes, except for like one or two, were all on her laptop. And at some point, the pencils, the number 2 pencils that you and I used, and the theme paper, and all the little colored folders, and the spiral notebooks, and the erasers, and the pencil sharpeners, all of that stuff that our parents bought us at Target or Walmart every August. Now, most of that is kind of obsolete. I mean, they still used it a little bit, but at some point, the technology was also important that our kids learned to type way better than we did.
Right.
They learned to use devices, laptops, iPads, DSs, all these type of devices our kids have had since they were little. And I had friends of mine that were like, why are you letting them play with that? Why are you doing this? And I'm like, because by the time they graduate and get in the workplace, if they don't know how to use all these devices and computers and programs, they're going to be 10 steps behind everybody. Both of my kids got accepted to UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about it. They used all the devices. Steven's going to be a senior, and I think his classes start this week. But technology is moving, like you said. You can't stop technology. You can't, even if you hate it. And even if you're the former singer of Skid Row that's screaming on stage, I hate AI! I want to destroy AI! I don't like AI! Guess what, Sebastian? It's not going away.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, I don't want artists, you know, I want artists to be able to create their art. I see people in the comments saying, can AI, you know, create the Van Halen logo? Well, I hate to tell you, but it created my logo, and I kind of like it. And it created my theme song. And I know I like my theme song, so maybe other people don't, but I think it's
Wait, is that an AI version of Charlie too?
Huh? Shit, yeah, it is.
Does Charlie approve of that?
Annie Animations, my buddy Annie Animations created my video.
He's
AI
awesome.
created,
I see him.
yeah.
He's on X.
Yes.
Awesome.
So guys, we're not rooting for people to lose their art. We're just saying, hey, you know, you can't stop progress. So
Exactly.
we got a few comments or a few questions left here, and then
Let's
we'll probably
knock 'em
wrap
out.
it up.
All
so
good.
Here's John Byrne. Thank you. Says Cat's Vinyl auctions straight sales and raffles for higher end vinyl like Decadation. So that's the company that you were talking about, Stevie.
Cats,
Thing that he does.
KATZ vinyl auctions on Facebook. I think you have to become a member. Find that, sign up. John and his group of guys, they have fans, whatever you call the database there. Everybody, it's all vinyl related. They do all kinds of like obscure stuff and cool stuff. So yeah, that's John's vinyl group on Facebook.
And here's Keith Ryan Cartwright is back again, and Rick Rubin just said this: AI is the punk rock of coding.
I just saw that. I saw Rick Rubin talking about that either yesterday or today. Thanks for the shout out once again, Key Money.
And I'll just point out, I mean, look at the amount of artists who are using AI to their advantage, you know, to create their flyers and shit. I mean, it's pretty handy. So I'll just I'll show this one because there are people on the other side. AI is the scourge of humanity, and the AI wackadoos need to be marginalized. I disagree, but there are people who share that opinion. So whatever. And ICS Photos, hello. I just subscribed and now I'm binging so many videos from this channel. Appreciate you don't stick to the same 5 bands and topics. Thank you.
Thank you.
That. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for supporting the Guru and the Chaos.
And the Chaos. And I got 2 left. Plan 9, good times. Says, you dummies. I'm reasonable, but at least concede that AI can't create the band logos behind you. I kind of disagree. AI can create band logos.
Yeah, the Kiss logo is one of the most recognized logos ever. I think Ace did that on a napkin or something, right? Awesome. Warrant, Motley Crue, Skid Row, Bon Jovi, all of that stuff is what it is. There's plenty of artists out there that are embracing AI head on. And here's the thing too. AI is in its infant stages right now. So we can't just judge it and rule it and say, you know what? No, let's stop it.
Right.
Again, you're not going to. But again, everybody's entitled to their opinions, including Sebastian, including the Guru, and including me.
Even you. That's right.
Jason Bieler, he's not entitled to his opinion. We're not letting him have an opinion, or Jeff Scott Soto. I mean, fuck these guys with a full head of hair.
Fuck Jeff Scott Soto. Just kidding, Jeff.
You're not kidding.
And I think the last one, okay, maybe not the FAI, but long live hair metal and long live hair metal chaos every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Stevie, as we wrap it up, anything else you want to shout out? Let people know what's going on with you before we wrap it up. I
think what we're going to do is I think next week's flyer, we're going to ask AI to give both of us killer rock hair.
That's right. And muscles.
I want you and me, thanks to AI, to have the most killer hair ever. Yes. Like the Nikki Sixx meets David Coverdale meets Eric Brittingham on the Night Songs album.
Meets Troy Patrick Farrell.
Meets Troy Patrick Farrah. Not Farrell. Farrah. I love Troy. And actually, I love Jeff, too. Jason, I kind of like him a lot. But I don't know if love is... I like my men with less beard.
Oh, really? You want me to
yeah.
This shit
Well,
on?
You don't have a lot. Stephanie doesn't have a beard either. That's why, I love her so much.
That's right. That's right. Hey, so again, huge thank you to the people at the Mountain, April, Larry, the entire staff. And those are the same people who are organizing the Monsters of Rock Cruise.
Monsterwood.
May 6th through the 11th, leaving from California. I can't remember if it's exactly LA, but Los Angeles. I'll be there. Tough will be there. I'm definitely going to try to make sure I get my ticket for Michael Monroe beforehand. But, man, I'm so jacked for that. So let us know if you're going to be going on the cruise. And down in the description, you're going to find the link to Metal Sludge. Go to the Metal Sludge store, buy a shirt, buy some vinyl. Stevie's always good for throwing in something extra. Maybe you'll get something from Hair Metal Chaos live.
And I'll punch this out right now. I don't know who cares, who wants, but if anybody buys a box set this week, and there's a couple of there's a CD box set, there's a CD DVD box set, and there's also a vinyl box set. In other words, spend $100 or more, and you're going to automatically get a free Metal Sludge shirt. But you got to tell me in the description, hey, I'm ordering this, and throw in the shirt. I want it small. I want it medium. I want it XXX, XXX, XI. I got 7 sizes. So shop away. And also make sure to send Charlie some biscuit money this week. And subscribe.
That's right. That's right.
Become a member.
Yes. And I do appreciate that, you guys. We still have 266 people here. Go down in the links. You're going to find the link to my Spotify, to Metal Sludge. If you want to donate anything to Charlie. And, hey, like, subscribe. What the hell? Ring the notification bell. Until next week's chaos, you guys take care of yourselves, all right?
Metal Chaos! With the Guru and Rachelle.